This is a story of the life and times of late Major Idi Maina, born on 25th August 1942 in the Emirates of Fika, formerly Borno State, now Yobe State, and one of the oldest and most reputable emirates in Africa. Idi Maina was born in the middle of World War II, setting the tone for a life that would be filled with service and dedication. He was the second male child of late Maina Leji Meangwa Bolewa Ward, Potiskum. It was in the same state that he had his primary education. He attended Potiskum Central Primary School from 1951. It was a process that formed the building blocks of a life of impact. Idi Maina was admitted into Borno Provincial Secondary School, where he met one of his greatest friends, Mohammed Natala. Maina, alongside Mohammed, was one of the two students who were nominated from their school to welcome the Queen of England, Elizabeth II, on a state visit to Nigeria in 1956. The Queen had a schedule take her across the length and breadth of the country, with Kaduna as one of the ports of call. The colonial government then decided to give a grandiose welcome in the capital of northern region of Kaduna. Consequently, the provinces were invited to come along with their most impressive ceremonies. School children were also part of the plan. Such was a memorable occasion that defined his path and fortitude to be a patriot in whatever he did. After his secondary school days, Maina had a short stint in teaching, a profession he held dearly to his heart. Having completed a course at the Higher Teachers College, he took up a teaching job. One of his products was a friend of his, retired George Alkali Ahmed, who pursued his education and eventually graduated from Bayero University, where he studied law. Today, he's a retired judge after serving in the civil service for over 30 years. A significant part of his early life was when he joined the Nigerian Air Force. Major Maina joined the force in July 1963. Alongside course mates like Lieutenants Smith, John Chukwu, Bayo Lawal, Bayo Ayelagbe, Ever Smith, Sule Natiti, Clement Umaru Uga, Afolabi Alabi, Nuruddin Yusuf, George Osho, Wilfred Oza, Jide Akerele, Mukhtar Mohammed, Bernard Banfa, Deji Ayokale, Francis Ogu, Omene, Ibrahim Alpha, among others. In all, 85 of these young Nigerians with different qualifications ranging from HSC, WASC, GCE, O-Level and Trade Test Certificate converged in Lagos before their departure to West Germany for training. On 28 August 1963, they left the shores of Nigeria to the core of Europe, where they officially embarked on a journey into the Air Force, a brilliant future staring them ahead. They became the first crop of Nigerians to be trained in Germany. He, alongside other young and vibrant Nigerians, began their sojourn into the unknown but promising future. They boarded a Lufthansa German airline to West Germany on Boeing 727. It was a 6-hour non-stop flight to Hamburg. There, he also met one of his best friends, Air Vice Marshal Ishaya Aboy Shakari, who joined from Canada. Their arrival at Hamburg International Airport created a special ambience, as such a number of blacks had never arrived or seen in Germany at the same time before. It was a major culture shock to see them, as they had to grapple with the extent of cold at minus 30 degrees Celsius, not less the military training coinciding with the aftermath of the harsh realities of the World War II ground battle experience. Idi Maina, alongside others, found time out of their busy schedule to socialize, and that saw them crisscrossing the length and breadth of Uetersen near Hamburg in North Germany to Lenzburg near Munich and Kaufbeuren. During one of such evenings, many of them gathered to have a good time. The music band had been playing largely German music. Suddenly, they changed to Maina's favorite Spanish song called La Bamba. The whole atmosphere changed while everyone took to the dance floor for special dance to the song. With John Chukwu on the guitar, Ishaya Shakari showed the other young men how best to dance to the song. Germany that the building blocks of Idris Maina and other brilliant Nigerian patriotism and a desire to help promote the positive values of the most populous black nation formed. They embarked on learning the German language alongside their technical and flying trainings in the foreign land. The training in Germany was intense, and the young Nigerians were taught various drills in the act of flying. 20 hours of basic flying course was embarked on in German Air Force Flying School at Uetersen on 14th April 1964. Initial trainer aircraft and single-engine Piper were used for the session. Having completed the session, they proceeded to 25-hour program on Italian propeller aircraft Piaggio 149D. Idi Maina was the most outstanding in both academics and flying programs. Idi Maina, alongside two other colleagues, were awarded special certificate for their competence and airmanship. Other colleagues include Jide Akerele, Bayo Lawal, Ibrahim Alfa, Everett Smith, John Chuku, Wilfred Oza, Haruna Aziz, Bayo Ayelagbe, and Robert Okafor. They all participated in the program. Those who finished the course were moved to Folston Folsport Air Force Base. 50 flying hours training with American T-33 trainer jet aircraft involving gunnery program was embarked on. According to German custom, after the first solo, Maina's instructor cut his necktie to mark a successful completion of the exercise. The training in Germany was cut short in 1966 after the coup of 15th January, when the government of Prime Minister Abubakar Tafawa Balewa was upstaged. That changed the trajectory of the early plans of the government of Nigeria and Germany, which was meant to be completed in 1967. Fresh from the training in Germany and countries of advanced drills, the young, vibrant and articulate Maina joined forces with his colleagues, embraced the challenges brought to them by the Civil War with honor, patriotism and a high sense of duty. They were not skilled in the art of war. There were no fighter aircraft to prosecute the war. The importance of the war had these green graduates thrown into the thick of action. And yes, they stepped up to the challenge. Fighter aircraft including L-29, MiG-15, 17 and DC-3 transports were introduced to the Nigerian Air Force inventory. It's interesting to know that as soon as the aircrafts landed in Nigeria, the young and enterprising Nigerians went solo and flew it for operations. It was as a result of a thorough training they received in Germany. It was about this time that Maina, alongside some other young officers, established a unit in Benin, from where combat flying operations into the rebel-held areas took place. Maina's exceptional leadership skills were evident from the way he coordinated the team, and adequate feedback provided then Lieutenant Colonel Samuel Ogbemudia. The governor had so much hope in Maina that he confided in Officer Joe Ehigie, who later became Air Vice Marshal, that one day Idris Maina will become commander of the Nigerian Air Force. In his word, Air Vice Marshal Ishaya Aboy Shekari eulogized the personality of Idi Maina. He was a much more mature individual, always very thoughtful and spoke little in spite of his imposing image. It soon became clear that behind the quiet appearance stood a very intelligent personality, very forthright, firm and very courageous. From my interaction with Maina, I had come to know that he didn't specifically study science subjects involving physics, chemistry and further mathematics during his school days in Nigeria. He had studied mainly arts subjects and was being molded to become a teacher. Thus, he had to learn afresh many basic principles of science, especially those concerning flying, to be able to cope effectively with his flying career as an Air Force pilot. He was able to combine all his studies successfully and still emerge as one of the best among his peers. Despite his commanding voice and posture, Idi Maina was one officer who knew how to keep calm and cool when an occasion so demanded. It's no wonder that his leadership qualities were recognized much earlier, leading to early promotion to the rank of a major and his appointment as a commander of the Air Force Base Kano. In his words, Air Vice Marshal Abdullahi Bello, retired JCON CFR, recounted the incredible effort of Maina in one of the memorable days in the force. Major Maina was a very intelligent officer and also a good fighter pilot. I recall an incident during the war in which he demonstrated his dexterity and maneuverability with the MiGs. He had flown on a mission around Enugu from Makurdi. Unfortunately, the weather around the target area became so bad that they had to abandon the mission, so they had to return to base with all their armaments still fixed under their wings. When they got back to the base, they still had almost full tank of fuel because the flight time to the target area was only 10 minutes. However, it was dangerous to land with almost full tank. Therefore, they needed to reduce the amount of fuel they carried. Hence, they were advised by the tower controller to circle round and burn off some fuel. When that was achieved, the wingman was cleared to land. On landing, the wingman unfortunately ran over on a little hunch in the middle of the runway. Thankfully, the wingman was immediately rescued by the firefighters as the armaments continued to explode sporadically. Our next worry turned to Major Maina, who was still in air, as we considered how best to help him land with only half of the runway available, since the aircraft was still burning at the middle of the runway. The tower controller at the stage advised him to continue to circle some more in order to burn off more fuel to reduce the weight of the aircraft. When he had burned enough fuel, the tower controller cleared him to land, having explained to him the portion of the runway that was available. For those who know the MiGs, know that they require long runway for takeoff and landing. Major Maina happily positioned his aircraft superbly long before he got to the burning aircraft. He quickly turned his aircraft away from the burning wreckage and moved quickly into the apron. It was such a remarkable feat and was so superbly done. Another life impacting experience was when Major Maina lost his engine on his way from a mission. He was able to eject successfully from the plane mid-air, but not without a fractured ankle caused by the impact of the landing. The incident happened in Agbo, Benin. Between 1968 and 1969, he became the OC Flying Wing in Kaduna after recuperating. That was under the command of General Obada at Kaduna Air Force Base. He became the base commander at the Kano Air Force Base at such a young age, also making it the first among his colleagues that were trained in Germany to be so elevated as a commander, while his exploit on the beat was remarkable. It was on their return from Germany and subsequent deployment to various stations across the country that Maina began a love relationship with Miss Aduke Ehige while in Benin City. What was first a fairy tale became a wedding ceremony on 26 August 1969. The ceremony was conducted by the registrar at the administration's office Kaduna. Air Vice Marshal Ishaya Aboy Shakari was the best man to Idi Maina. The two had become really great friends over the years, and it's no wonder that about a year later, precisely on the 21st August 1970, Idi Maina stood shoulder to shoulder as the best man when Air Vice Marshal Ishaya Aboy Shakari tied the knot with his heartthrob Miss Lydia Ballot in Kaduna. With the Civil War ending in January 1970, preparations began ahead of Nigeria's 10th independence anniversary. All efforts were geared towards a remarkable decade as a sovereign state. The best of Nigeria's pilots got on board with the sole aim of painting the skies in the best outfit. Maina came to Lagos in September in preparation for the main event. For the special occasion, a change of usual routine was to be adopted by flying the MiGs and Illusion 18 in a special formation. On the very fateful day, 14th September 1970, the whole of Lagos stood still to catch glimpses of the aircraft making successful low-past and pull-ups over the lagoon. News soon filtered in that one of the aircrafts had plunged into the lagoon with the pilot bailing out. On getting to the scene, only the parachute could be seen floating on the water surface. After several efforts by swimmers and divers, the lifeless body of Major Maina was recovered. He will later be flown to Maiduguri, from where he was conveyed to his hometown Potiskum for burial. He was buried near the Emir of Fika's palace in Potiskum. Major Maina was a man of many parts. He was a caring friend, a passionate lover, a darling father, and a patriot. Maina left behind his wife and bouncing baby boy. He was named Abubakar Maina Bawa, the son of Mahmoud Moi Disa. Major Maina will be remembered with respect and affection. He was a role model and a fountain of inspiration to so many people, and his name is written on the sands of time. To celebrate the life of Major Maina, here are some quotes about his impact on people's lives. During his lifetime, Maina was always smiling and was very generous, friendly and accommodating person. His doors were open to all and sundry, regardless of tribe or religion. He was always ready to render a helping hand. No wonder he made friends throughout the nooks and corners of Nigeria. General A.A. Abubakar, GCFR. From all appearances, he was a much more mature individual, always very thoughtful and spoke little in spite of his imposing image. It soon became clear that behind this quiet appearance stood a very intelligent personality, very forthright, firm and very courageous indeed, qualities that later marked him out as outstanding among his peers. Air Vice Marshal Ishaya Aboy Shakari retired. It was a very sad day for all of us in the Air Force family. We had not only lost a brilliant leader, a daring officer, but also we had lost one of those officers whose contributions kept Nigeria one. Air Vice Marshal Abdullahi Bello retired, GCON CFR, former Chief of Air Staff, Nigerian Air Force. Over the 7 years we trained and worked together through the thick and thin, I found Idi to be highly dedicated, responsible, reliable, highest level of integrity, humble, forthrightness of life, a daring, highly competent fighter pilot who devoted his life to the fatherland. Air Vice Marshal Adebayo Hamid Lawal retired. Idi was set immediately behind me, and I knew him to be a very serious-minded professional fighter pilot who was always concerned about safety and precision. The void he left in the Nigerian Air Force was never filled. G.A. Esho, Group Captain, retired. During the Civil War, Maina and some others will from time to time come to the government's house to brief Governor Bemudia about the operations. Some few times I will accompany the governor to meet with them at the Benin airport, from where they carried out their operations. God bless his soul. Air Vice Marshal Joe Ehige retired. As my roommates during our training in Germany, Major Maina was caring, hardworking, jovial, yet highly disciplined. He will always wear a charming smile that brightened his world. His sincerity with his colleagues and charming personality made him respected and loved by all of us. Air Commodore Mobolaji David retired. During our pilot training, we became close with each other. Cadet Maina was kind, jovial and accommodating. During flying training, Idi very well was able to go through all flying phases without any problem. He was an intelligent and hard-working officer. Haruna Aziz Zigo, Group Captain, retired, Senator. Idi Maina was a very cheerful and loving personality. Never seen him lose his cool. We all admired him, and he had all the attributes to becoming the commander of the Nigerian Air Force. I will always remember him for taking me under his wings in flying and at leisure. Air Commodore Ishaku Sama Nwankon, retired. As a DSS officer in my second service year, I served briefly as adjutant under his command at NAV Tactical Training Wing, NAV TTW Kano. He firmly corrected and helped upgrade my military bearing with his volcanic laughter. He was firm and resolute in his decisions. EBU Unwibe. He will forever be a pride to his heritage and a worthy example to young and aspiring pilots. The memories of the life and times of Major Idi Maina will forever be etched on our hearts. May the soul of the deceased rest in perfect peace. Amen. His Royal Highness, the Emir of Fika, Alhaji Dr. Muhammadu Abali Ibn Muhammadu Idris, CON, Chairman, Yobe State Council of Traditional Rulers. A Nigerian hero, I call you. Nigeria will never forget your helpful contribution, and I'm glad to say that your beautiful legacies live on through us all. It's rejoicing to share your scars in understanding the fullness of your outstanding stories. You've inspired us to pick up the baton and earn our scars too. Hajia Rabi Mukhtar Mohammed. Idi Maina was a very dear close cousin, a confidant and a friend throughout his life. Though he was slightly older, we share so many things in common. Dear Idi, may your life forever rest in perfect peace. Amen. Muhammad M. Waziri, Dala Ofika. He served the Air Force as best as he could, and on one occasion, I was returning from London in 1970 when some overzealous official at Kano Airport stopped me for a search where he found a brand new handheld Sony radio in my luggage and asked for the receipt, which was not available. He insisted I should pay duties for it. I had no red cash on me, so I called on my friend Idi with dispatch. On arrival, he introduced himself to the custom officer, who immediately backed down and asked me to go, but Maina characteristically refused the offer and insisted a receipt be issued, and he paid for the duty instantly. Mohammed Natala, Tinjafuya Ofika. I saw it all happened at Marina on the fateful day. I still suffered from the shock months after, recalling little details here and there. Forever sweet in the memories of a fine officer and a gentleman who lost his life in the service of his country. Peace, perfect peace. Victoria Uwamu Onigbanjo. He was kind, caring and loving. He was a gentleman who never ceased smiling and making everyone feel loved. Mrs. Tupe Atonda, United States of America. I thank the Almighty for your precious life on this earth, even though it was very meager, too limited, cut short that we never even met. Still, you're my divine gift. I'm better in every way because your blood flows through my vein. The best part of me is you, Father. Abubakar Maina, son. It's been 50 years. 50 years of memories and achievements of an amazing man who left legacies behind. His undying love for the fatherland knew no bounds. He sacrificed so much for friends, family, and of course the nation. As the families remember the contribution of late Major Maina, his life and times will forever be an example to generations yet unborn. Surely Nigeria, and of course the world, lost an amiable, diligent, and courageous son. May the soul of Major Idi Maina continue to rest on.